मैं आपका होस्ट जलाल आपकी खिदमत हाजिर। आप सब सुन रहे हैं सलाम नमस्ते कैलगरी और संजा रेडियो 94.7 FM कैलगरी, जिसको स्पॉन्सर किया है कंट्री हिल्स टोयोटा। थिंक जायंट कंट्री हिल्स टोयोटा। इनका फोन नंबर है 4032901111 और विजिट द वेबसाइट www.𝗃𝗶𝘀𝗲.com। तो आज यहाँ ट्यूसडे का दिन है। सलाम नमस्ते कैलगरी का जो सेगमेंट है विद मी एंड सलमा जी भी यहाँ पर मौजूद है और हमारे बहुत ही स्पेशल गेस्ट भी यहाँ पर मौजूद है। लेकिन सबसे पहले माय को-होस्ट सलमा जी। सलमा
जी थैंक यू जलाल। सबसे पहले सब लोगों को सलाम नमस्ते आदाब सत श्री अकाल याली मदद एंड अ ब्यूटीफुल इवनिंग। इट्स गोइंग टू गेट रियली नाइस इट सीम्स लाइक। तो उम्मीद है आप लोग सब अच्छे होंगे, आप लोगों का हफ्ता बहुत अच्छा गुजरा होगा। और जैसे कि पता है आप लोगों को कि रमज़ान चल रहा है और अच्छे रोज़े जा रहे हैं क्योंकि गर्मी बिल्कुल नहीं है और बहुत अच्छा लग रहा है। तो उम्मीद है आप लोग सब खैरियत से होंगे। अब आज जैसे कि जलाल ने कहा हमारे गेस्ट आ चुके हैं और कौन नहीं जानता उनको, तो उनसे हम आज बात करेंगे और उनसे सारा मालूम करेंगे उनके बारे में, उनको जो अवार्ड मिला है उसके बारे में। तो इट्स गोइंग टू बी अ रियली नाइस इवनिंग।
यस और हमारे जो गेस्ट है ही इज नॉट अ स्ट्रेंजर टू आवर कम्युनिटी। इनका नाम माइक शेख है। ही बिलोंग्स टू पाकिस्तान कम्युनिटी और इनको रिसेंटली जो है ऑर्डर ऑफ कनाडा का इनको अवार्ड दिया गया फ्रॉम द गवर्नमेंट ऑफ कनाडा। तो इन्हीं से तो इसीलिए हमने इनको यहाँ पे आज जो है अपना जो है दावत दिया हमारे शो पर, ताकि इनके बारे में मालूम कर सकें और हम किस तरह मालूम कर सकें कि हम जो लाइक मैं और आप जो किस तरह अवार्ड ले सकते हैं। आपको क्या पापड़ बेलने पड़ते हैं, बिकॉज ही इज बीन डूइंग इस जो है अपना कम्युनिटी सर्विस फॉर years and years। तो लेट मी वेलकम आवर गुड फ्रेंड माइक शेख टू आवर शो। माइक शेख, अस्सलाम वालेकुम, कैसे हैं आप?
वालेकुम सलाम। Assalamu alaikum to all of you.
Yes, thank you so much for coming in and
right.
thank you so much for accepting our invitation to come over here. Like I don't know, where do I start? Let's start like I think we know a little bit about you. लेकिन माइक शेख कौन है, क्या है और like how did you become, you can say, involved in other institution, जो charities भी हैं। There are so many things। अगर हम गिनने बैठेंगे तो पूरा शो उसी में निकल जाएगा। थोड़ा आपका इंट्रो अगर मैं पूछूं तो आप क्या बोलो इंट्रो?
Before I do that, Jalal and Salma, thank you very much for inviting me. Ramzan Mubarak to all of you who are fasting or observing the Ramzan. And also I want to thank Country Hill Toyota for sponsoring this fantastic program. Jalal sahab, you asked me that I do some introduction. Problem I have is that I do not like talking about myself. So I will explain it to you in a very precise format. That I came to Canada in 1974, which is about 50 some years ago. I became a chartered accountant soon after that and started my own business. And as I arrived in the country, I was so fortunate to see that what a beautiful place I had landed. So immediately thereafter, like I'm talking within months, that I started to give back to the community. So my message here is give back to the community, not just community you belong to, but community at large.
Very
right?
important, yes.
Very important that we need to be seen that we are part of the community at large, right? Instead of just simply siloing ourselves into a unit, right? So I have been volunteering for 50 years, right? I have given my time and resources and my talent to many organizations such as Alberta Children's Hospital, University of Calgary, Bow Valley College, Weber Academy, Paralympic Committee of Canada, right? I mean, I'm just forgetting all the names I've done of that work. However, currently I am involved with Paralympic, and of course I'm off to Paris for the Olympics, in summer.
Nice.
Then I have also started recently called World Literacy Foundation, and I'm the chair of that. And our goal is to provide literacy to children, 5 million kids, 5 million kids in 50 countries by 2030.
By 2030.
So this is our I call it World Literacy Task Force, and we launched that at the UN a year and a half ago, in New York. And last year we had our second version of the launch at the New York UN. Unfortunately, I could not go for family reasons, but that goal is going ahead at full force. And our first city, which we are currently working on providing literacy to children who are unable to read, in Boston. That is our first city of a prototype.
So what was the reason of choosing Boston?
That's a very good question. And so what we did, we hired, we want to make sure that we don't select cities arbitrarily, right?
Okay.
So we made sure that we do it properly. So we hire Ernst & Young, which is the largest Canadian, international accounting firm, and ask them to set up parameters so that we can assess cities under those parameters. And you wouldn't believe that. Boston's supposed to be the most literal place. It has the most amount of illiterate children because of the Hispanic and Black children living in that city. So Boston came on the top.
Wow, I could never think of it.
We wanted to do a prototype in North America so that we could learn all the problems we may encounter and then move on to other cities.
So when you're talking about kids, so like in your first year and a half, what did you find? कि बच्चे कहाँ से? From the immigrants or
they're
from
mostly in Boston. I could talk about that.
Right.
Is mostly immigrant parents, children, and underprivileged children. And Boston happens to have a lot of Black community as well. And unfortunately, we found that there was a lot of illiteracy, right? And our goal is simple, one simple thing. We want them to be able to read. If they have to read a prescription, they can read the prescription or an address. We want them to be able to read. Once they're able to read, they can get themselves a job or provide themselves other opportunities in themselves.
Yeah, that's so important. So now you have now got the list of all the countries that
Not
your
yet.
cities
Not
will
yet.
be going.
We are. There are two things. So
Yeah.
this literacy foundation is in partnership with 4 countries: England, U.S., Australia, and Canada. And I'm Canadian arm of that partnership, right? And our goal is to raise money, and we are focusing on only the U.S. large corporations to give us the funds which we need to progress. We haven't approached any Canadian companies yet. Let us get one city under our belt, show them the results, and hopefully Canadian companies will come on side.
So let me ask you this, because I haven't asked this to anyone like this. When you're meeting with your other colleagues from Australia, US, UK, and Canada, so what other countries think about Canada? Because wherever you go, you like people are like, wow, you're Canadian. But you talk to them,
we are viewed as fairly good country
Is
to
it right?
live,
Yeah.
right? You and I are very fortunate
Blessed,
where we
yes.
are, and we are viewed a very good place to live, clean, low crime rate, and healthcare. Even though we poo-pooed on our
Yes,
healthcare all
yes.
the time, we still have a very good healthcare, right? Educational system. It costs fraction of what it costs in the U.S. to go to school or universities.
That's right. Yeah, anywhere, whenever I'm traveling, and as soon as they come to know where we are from, their attitude changes.
It changes,
the way they talk to you, the way they appreciate things, and it's nice to carry that blue passport. I tell you.
Oh no! If you're traveling, and I usually travel, and I go to these Olympics and Paralympics, I always have a Canadian jacket on because I don't want to be perceived as an American because my accent very much is an accent, right? And so it has a different perception
Yeah.
once you show them that you are Canadian.
Yeah, Canadian,
yeah.
definitely.
Like, let me give you a
definitely.
little bit on,
Yeah.
like on the same topic. When we had our Jubilee Games in the 2016 from our community in Dubai,
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember
and
that.
about 5,000 athletes from around the world, 70,000 people around the world came to watch the games.
Yeah.
And Canadian were the largest troop,
Yeah.
Oh wow, wow.
and it was left by like Seva
Sefa,
Kuna.
I know
Yeah.
Sefa quite
Yeah.
well.
I know.
And I'm glad that she.
Well,
she
that's why I
told me-
mentioned that.
You
Yeah.
see, I was on the Children's Hospital Board,
Yes.
and she is the executive director of
Yes.
that.
That's right.
And she took a sabbatical
Yeah.
to work with those games,
Yeah.
and it was a fantastic
Yeah.
success.
Mhm.
But I was so glad to see the Canadian continue
Troop,
Yeah.
being such a large one.
That's
Yeah,
right.
it was a large one,
Yeah.
and I was one of the manager for the table tennis team, and you know, where like of course when people ask you like where you from, but we had a Canadian like logo, T-shirt, and everything. When I was flying, I was so I had a jacket and everything Canadian, and people asked me, where are you going with this Canadian? I said, no, I'm going for our games. And once you got there, Alhamdulillah, we got really good respect from around the world, from our own people,
Yeah.
basically.
Oh,
Yeah.
No,
Always
so the
like-
Canada, we take it for granted a lot of time.
Oh, no,
But we are so blessed to be.
I have done a lot of these Olympics and Paralympics.
Mhm.
So I was in Rio de Janeiro,
Mm-hmm.
2016 I think was, right? And I was wearing a pair of pants with Canadian flag on it.
Mm-hmm.
And you should have seen some foreign media came running to
Yeah.
me and wanted to interview me because they thought I was Canadian,
Yeah,
yeah.
and I was displaying
Yeah.
my citizenship very well.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Yes,
a great
yes,
thing.
yes,
Yeah.
yes.
So, I have a question.
Yes.
Yeah, of course you are involved so much. So, give some pointers to the students, to youth. Like when you came, you were a student also, and like what inspired you? What motivated you to get involved and get to this point you are here? You are.
Selma, if you have heard me before, and I'm
Yeah.
going to tell you my three mantras.
Yeah,
The
that's
three
right.
mantras I
Please.
follow:
Yeah, that's right.
learn, earn, and return.
Yeah.
So I have followed that right from day one,
Mhm.
and my goal was, and my wife and I both made sure that we give back to the community, right?
Mhm.
And so we started small ways. I actually started. First thing I did was 1974 April.
Mhm.
Was doing tax returns for homeless people,
Mm-hmm.
right? So you
Yeah,
just start
yeah.
with whatever
Yes,
you can.
yeah.
What you get, yeah.
And what my message here today to people is, when you give back, you actually getting back a lot in return.
Yes.
You may not see it, but you're learning a lot of things. God will bless you
Yes.
and give you back multifold when you're giving your
Mhm.
resources, whether it's time or money, right?
Mm.
Or talent, right? So please do that. And I urge every one of you who are listening to me that at least one or two organization you must volunteer
Yes.
now, right?
Mhm.
And those two organizations I'm suggesting must be not in your community.
Yeah.
That what I'm saying, your
Go out
community.
of, go out of the comfort
your-
zone, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So your community is additional.
Yes,
And you
yes.
should participate in
Yeah,
there. And
yeah.
I'm not saying do not,
Yeah.
but I'm saying you got to give back to other community at large.
Yeah.
Your local community, the community you live in,
Yeah.
or even food bank, right? Mustard seed, you name it. There are many organizations. Drop-in center, right?
Yeah.
Those are the places where we should be seen
Yes.
that we are part of this community and we're giving back to the community.
Very good
So
point.
true,
Very
so
good
true.
point. Wow. Yes. Yes. So when you came, when you came here, like said 1974. So how many people were here from our community? What did you like?
It was very.
Like how was the city hall and everything that time?
It was such a small community at that time. I remember 5 families, which
Okay.
I knew,
Okay.
right? And the first Eid Namaz
Yeah.
we had at somebody's basement
Basement.
because there were no mosques
No
Right.
in Calgary, right?
Yeah.
The first mosque was built on 17th Avenue,
Okay.
and that was the first mosque. And then when the first Jamaat Khana was built,
Yeah.
I was amazed what a beautiful thing that was built
Yes.
on, I think it was the 32nd, right?
Yeah.
I was so proud of that because when I was in Karachi, living in Karachi, we
Yeah.
had a biggest 𝗃𝗏𝗧,
Yes.
right? And I was so, and we had so many friends because we lived nearby the 𝗃𝗏𝗧.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
So we had a lot of friends who go to 𝗃𝗏𝗧.
Yes.
So I would go with them, and I was a young kid, so I was allowed to go in there.
Yeah. Wow.
Great. Yeah. That's something, your journey, of course, I know about it, and I've known you and I've read about you. So tell us something like you remember that you want to tell people, that something you want to tell us.
I think when you give back,
Yeah.
don't expect anything in
Yeah.
return, right? And that will give you the best satisfaction.
Yeah.
Just simply see that if you're making a difference,
Mhm.
a difference, it doesn't matter how big it is, how
Yeah.
small it is, right?
Yeah.
You're making a difference, it will add to and it will amount to a lot, right? For somebody's life, right?
Mhm.
Handicapped children. My wife started volunteering at 𝗃𝗶𝘀𝗶. 𝗃𝗶𝘀 is an organization, Calgary Urban Project
Yes.
Society,
Yeah.
and they are taking care of the children from underprivileged, marginalized communities, right?
Mhm.
Homeless people's children. That's what they take care of.
Mhm.
And so we started giving back to that and making sure those children are properly fed, properly taken care of, medically properly taken care of,
Mhm.
and giving them the mental security that they are important, they are cared for, right?
Mhm.
And I can give you 100 examples
Yeah.
of that because my wife was involved in that.
Yeah.
So do you think having a supportive wife or the family plays a great role in what you have achieved so far?
You 100% right.
Yeah.
I could have never done that without my wife's full support, right?
Mm.
And she has been a wonderful partner. She has made sure that I had all the freedom to do what I wanted to,
Wonderful, yes.
right? And of course, I'm an equal partner in our
Yeah.
marriage, and I need to make sure that I perform equal amount of duties required to run the household, right?
Mhm.
But she was quite supportive of me, and
Mhm.
she gave me all the support, what I needed to excel both
Okay.
ways, in business,
Mhm.
in my volunteer activities.
Mhm. So it's been long to 50 years here. When you came with the community, now, especially after pandemic, there are so many changes. There's a new normal, a new life, a new community. I don't want to say guidelines, but there are so many different things that are happening in community. So what do you see right now? Are you are you happy with it, the way everything moving, or you wanna go back a little bit? No, it's too far, or maybe we should. Okay, I'll keep the next question for the next time.
But I think we are in a better position
Yeah.
today because our community is so large,
Yes.
right? Canada is more than 50%
Yeah,
is already visible minority,
that's right. Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And so I'm saying we are in a way better position than we were 50 years ago,
Mhm.
right? In government, we have a voice.
Yes.
Yeah.
We have MPs, we have MLAs, and we have councillors
Mhm.
who are able to speak up, right?
Mhm.
And I often give my message to our young friend or young community members
Okay.
that get involved in the politics.
Yes, that was my next question.
Please stand up for a seat, whether it is local, provincial, or federal. Stand up because it's important that you are there, your voice is there, and you're representing us.
Us.
You know why? Because I don't want Trumpism coming to Canada. Trumpism is a threat which is very much can be transported to Canada.
Yes.
And the only way we can stop that is by making sure that we are represented in the political system.
Yes.
So right.
So how do you get youth involved with it? Because that's the major question we
So
have.
I encourage all the youth If you are thinking of something like that, come talk to me.
Mm-hmm.
I will give them all the support they need, financial advice, whatever they need, encouragement. I am there because I will be their biggest supporter. And I like, Salma, I like to see more female
Yeah.
getting
Yes,
involved
so-
in there
Yeah.
because I think we have better success,
Yeah.
right? So I would love to see anybody who's listening today, come talk to me. I will be there to help you to excel in that field because you know what? There's nothing wrong with putting your name in on the ballot and
That's right.
and showing your genuine interest in the community.
No, totally agree with that. Yes, as you know that there's a saying that when a man is or a boy is educated, he can only do so much. But if the woman is
Mother,
educated, that
That's right, yeah.
everything is achieved.
So you
with
know,
that.
when Nancy became a mayor, the first Muslim mayor in the North America, like 14, 15 years ago now, what was your feeling?
Well, that is a very good question, and I think it's very relevant today because now he's running for.
No,
Yeah.
He's
okay.
leading-
So as of today, it was in the news today.
Yeah.
Since he announced a week ago,
Yeah.
now it's like double the membership already in 1 week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when he was elected,
Yes.
I remember that very clearly.
Uh-huh.
I'm standing in line to vote for the mayor,
Yeah.
Okay.
and in my neighborhood, it was mostly white folks, right?
Yeah.
And they were all talking about, oh, this is the next Obama, because Obama had been elected
Yes.
about 5-6 months before that.
Yeah.
So it was just that wave
Yeah.
was so heartwarming
Yeah.
that he was being considered.
Considered. Yeah.
And I think he did a very good job, even though he ruffled some feathers.
Yes.
However, that's what happens in politics, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
But he was there, and even today, when he's raising this leadership race contest, he's done a great job.
Yes.
And putting the announcement, making sure he's well received, and he's been so far.
Yeah.
He's been well received.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. I personally, I think he'll be good for our
For our province. Yeah.
province,
province.
and
So you are listening to Salaam Namaste Calgary on the Sanjha Radio 94.7 FM. जिसको स्पॉन्सर किया है कंट्रोल Toyota. इनका कहना है कि if you're thinking car, think Toyota, think the giant Country Hills Toyota. And इनका phone number है 403-290-1111, or you can just visit the website chtoyota.com 24 hours a day. So we'll take a small commercial break and we'll be right back with Mr. Mike Shaikh.
Country Hills Toyota's 2023 inventory clearout is on now. With a huge selection of 2023 models and free winter tires, it's time to Toyota.
Giving back in good form,
ਕੈਨੇਡਾ ਵਿੱਚ ਰਹਿੰਦਿਆਂ ਇੰਸ਼ੋਰੈਂਸ ਦੀ ਬਹੁਤ ਅਹਿਮੀਅਤ ਹੈ। ਕਿਸੇ ਵੀ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਦੀ ਇੰਸ਼ੋਰੈਂਸ ਲਈ ਪੰਜਾਬ ਇੰਸ਼ੋਰੈਂਸ ਦੇ ਰੀਜਨਲ ਮੈਨੇਜਰ ਹਰਵਿੰਦਰ ਸਿੱਧੂ ਨਾਲ ਅੱਜ ਹੀ ਸੰਪਰਕ ਕਰੋ। ਸੁਪਰ ਵੀਜ਼ਾ, ਲਾਈਫ ਇੰਸ਼ੋਰੈਂਸ,
not
ਮੌਰਗੇਜ
just the young
ਇੰਸ਼ੋਰੈਂਸ,
people, but even us, right? What do you do to get yourself involved in the community you live in? Right? I would love to talk about that. My goal is, there's one more thing. I just became the co-chair of the Alberta Anti-Racism
Oh, mashallah.
Council, right? And so we could talk about how do you
How to
combat
manage, yeah,
how do you combat racism in the country, in province, right? So I have some ideas which I'm
Sure.
going to pursue
Okay,
that,
good.
right?
So it's
So
good that
those are
it
three,
has to
three,
be
four
good
things that you could talk
Sure,
about.
sure,
that, right?
Sure.
Awesome.
Good. Good.
ਸਿੱਧੂ ਵਧੀਆ ਰੇਟ ਤੇ ਬੈਸਟ ਸਰਵਿਸ ਲਈ ਕਾਲ ਕਰ 403 607 4208 ਇੰਡੀਆ ਨੂੰ ਡਾਲਰ ਵੇਚਣੇ ਹੋਣ 4
Can't even remember what the other organization I've been involved in.
So many.
Kiwanis Camp.
God,
We did that.
You just go on this camp,
We
yeah.
did that for years, and now I'm working again because they sold the camp because गाँव से बड़ा bought it, and they don't have a camp now. They have the money, but they have no camp. And so they came to me.
Yeah, we support them.
I was sending invitation to Nahid as well, to come over.
Yeah, he'll come.
Yeah.
Yeah, he'll come on.
He'll come anytime. Do you have his number and all that?
I have the 𝗟𝗲𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀 number.
Yeah,
But no, you should send him a
Just
number.
direct number?
directly.
Yeah, I'll write it down.
Sure, why don't you text me if you have a number, right?
I'll give you his
Sure.
his personal phone.
Sure.
He'll love that. Right?
Oh yeah, he will. I know he will love it for sure. Yeah, yeah. Go ahead. Like people are watching. Maybe you wanna just text me. Everyone will know his number.
Here's the number I just text you.
Okay, perfect.
Not text you. I sent you on your
Facebook.
Sure.
ਕੈਲਗਰੀ ਚ ਕਰਦੇ ਨਾ ਤਾਂ ਹੁਣ ਬੜਾ ਹੀ ਔਖਾ
ਤੁਸੀਂ ਘਰ ਚੰਦਰਮਾ ਤੇ ਲੱਭਦੇ ਹੋਣੇ ਕੈਲਗਰੀ ਚ ਨਹੀਂ ਆ ਨੋਟ ਕਰੋ ਨੰਬਰ ਅਰੁਣ ਕੌਸ਼ਲ ਦਾ
ਕਰ ਲਿਆ ਜੀ ਨੋਟ ਫੋਨ ਨੰਬਰ 4036182112
ਰੀਅਲ ਐਸਟੇਟ ਦੇ ਸਭ ਮਸਲਿਆਂ ਦਾ ਹੱਲ ਕਰਨਗੇ ਪ੍ਰੈਪ ਰਿਐਲਿਟੀ ਦੇ ਮਸ਼ਹੂਰ ਰਿਐਲਿਟਰ ਅਰੁਣ ਕੌਸ਼ਲ
ਅੱਛਾ ਜੀ ਅਰੁਣ ਕੌਸ਼ਲ ਲੱਭ ਕੇ ਦੇਣਗੇ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਘਰ
ਜੀ ਹਾਂ ਇਕੱਲੇ ਘਰ ਨਹੀਂ ਪ੍ਰਾਪਰਟੀ ਰੈਜ਼ੀਡੈਂਸ਼ੀਅਲ ਹੋਵੇ ਜਾਂ ਕਮਰਸ਼ੀਅਲ ਘਰ ਖਰੀਦਣਾ ਹੋਵੇ ਜਾਂ ਵੇਚਣਾ ਪ੍ਰੈਪ ਰਿਐਲਿਟੀ ਦੀ ਵੱਡੀ ਟੀਮ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਲਈ ਕਰੇਗੀ ਦਿਨ ਰਾਤ ਨੂੰ ਕੈਲਗਰੀ ਸ਼ਹਿਰ ਤੋਂ ਇਲਾਵਾ ਨੇੜੇ ਦੇ ਸ਼ਹਿਰ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਦੀ
So Taj
ਲਿਸਟਿੰਗ ਦਾ
ki,
ਵੱਡਾ
the
ਖਜ਼ਾਨਾ ਹੈ
oldest
ਪ੍ਰਾਪਰਟੀ ਵੇਚਣ ਲਈ ਜਾਂ ਖਰੀਦਣ ਲਈ ਯਾਦ ਰੱਖੋ ਅਰੁਣ ਕੌਸ਼ਲ ਦਾ ਫੋਨ ਨੰਬਰ
Yeah, so we see them other than this political side. We also
जी वेलकम बैक टू
yeah.
सलाम नमस्ते कैलगरी ऑन संजा रेडियो 94.7 FM. इसको स्पॉन्सर क्या है कंट्री टोयोटा 4032901111 और विजिट chtoyota.com. Yes, we have a Mr. Mike Shaikh here जिनको अवार्ड मिला है जो है ऑर्डर ऑफ कैनेडा फ्रॉम द गवर्नमेंट ऑफ कैनेडा. तो एक बार फिर से हमारे बहुत स्पेशल किस्म मुबारकबाद फिर से अवार्ड पर. और Mike, when you are, let's look at some future. I think when we met a couple of weeks ago, and of course you want like our community people to jump into politics, especially youth. कि हम क्या कर सकते हैं? They should have a say कि क्या करना है. I think last event when we met, people were talking. पहले हमें ईद का I think announcement जो है government of Alberta with Shaikh was involved in it as well. तो हम किस तरह? How can we, if we're looking at the future? Of course, we have you have a very good example of the 𝗟𝗏𝗫𝗀, the way he came. Now he's like where is he right now? So, if someone wants to move forward with this, what are the basic things they should do?
Good point, and I will go back to my earlier point. Get engaged in the community.
Okay.
You've got to give back to the community at large, and that shows that you care for the community. You learn from the community, and therefore you should be able to represent the community better, right? And when you stand up for an office, let's say MLA or MP or whatever, everybody's going to look at your community service, and therefore getting involved in the community service early enough.
Yes.
Early enough.
Yes.
And giving enough. Like I chaired the police commission, right? That was 8 years of me directing police how to combat crime, how to go after the crime, not by just law enforcement, but also getting to the root cause of the crime, right? And that was my giving back to the community. It was just a volunteer work, right? I wasn't looking for any accolades. I was looking for just to give back. And when I ran for Senate, by the way, I ran for Senate in 2012, and whenever I spoke to community at large in Brooks or Medicine Hat or Grand Prairie, they all looked at my community service. And that's the reason I got elected. So I am urging all the listeners to get involved now. There are many opportunities, unlimited amount of opportunities where you can put your name in. They'll love to have you, and you can give and contribute your knowledge, your resources, your manpower to that community.
Very well said.
That's
Yes.
so right. So now we have talked about youth. Now we see so many, I would call them senior citizens who are all retired, sitting at home doing nothing. How do we get them motivated to get involved and volunteer, and there are so many places we need all these volunteers. So how do we get them motivated to come out and go
Yeah.
and do something?
Well, you know what,
Yeah.
I don't know the answer to
Yeah.
that because that's a pretty complex
Yeah.
area. What I suggest,
Yeah.
a simple thing, very simple thing,
Yeah.
and that is, let's assume you live in a community, and on both sides of your house are non-community members, i.e. community at large living there. I suggest you invite them over for tea. Instead of just simply meeting your own people, just invite them. Say, come on over. We would like to invite you, tell you about our culture, maybe food, maybe religion. If you want to talk about religion, and politics, maybe you don't want to talk politics sometimes.
Yeah.
But that's what I would do.
Yeah.
Start from that small and then you expand and expand and expand. What I did, my wife and I did, and when we were able to do so, any neighborhood we lived in, we always had pre-Christmas a drink for all my neighbors. We invited them all.
Yeah.
Sometimes they would show up 30, 40 of them. Sometimes they would show up 20 of them.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter. Every neighbor knew who we were, and our home was open to them.
Big difference.
Yeah,
Yes.
So that may be the answer to get there.
start,
Yeah.
to get
Yeah.
there, yeah, to
Yeah.
start something, yeah.
So you like here, of course, we see, especially especially in our community, senior doesn't go out that much. We have to push them, or we have to have some kind of
Yeah.
free event. Then they come out,
Exactly.
which are which I don't blame them. I know it's very tough right now, but of course we have to motivate somehow. Maybe or maybe as like if you have parents, if you have grandparents, maybe you kind of start something, take them out for coffee. That's a very important point. I think you take them out for coffee, or just take them to the mall, just for a walk on the weekend.
Or take them to the events.
Events,
Yeah.
yeah.
Take them to all the events, all the fundraisers, all
Yeah.
the community events. Take them out, right? Have them engage, right?
Yeah.
They need to get out of their house. They will appreciate that most.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So tell us something about your recent award you got, the Order of Canada. So what happens? How a person gets it? What are the involvements he has to have to get this prestigious award?
Thank you. So the Government of Canada awards the Order of Canada, which is the highest civilian award in the country. Okay? And 99.9% of the time, the person who's been given the award does not know that.
Okay.
Often that is other people will send in the referrals
Okay.
or recommendations to this organization called the Order of Canada panel, and they review all these applications or recommendations, and some of them are in thousands, okay? Thousands of that a year. And then they award, I believe, 60 a year, okay? 60,
Okay.
across the country,
Right.
right? And I believe I am the first Pakistani
Oh,
We
mashallah.
are so
receive,
proud. So
Pakistani
proud.
Canadian
Yeah.
to receive that, right?
Wow.
And when I got a call, it was just early May. I was floored. I didn't know what to say, right? And they said, well, we're telling you now, but it is not public knowledge until I think it was June 1.
Okay.
Okay.
So I had to keep it hush-hush for
Yeah.
over a month
Yeah.
because I couldn't tell them.
Yeah.
I could tell my family, but
Yeah.
that's about it. But I
Yeah.
couldn't make an announcement
Yeah.
or go on a Facebook and
Yeah.
tell them.
Yeah.
Wow, congratulations again.
Yeah,
Mashallah.
it's
So proud of you.
amazing. Yeah.
And by the way, the investor mean they give you that award
Yes.
hasn't happened yet.
Yeah.
Oh.
They have given me, I can wear the pen, which is this pen.
Yes.
Okay.
However, the Governor General of Canada will award that investor sometime this year.
Yes.
Okay?
Okay.
The reason they have not done that is because of the COVID. they're way behind.
Oh yes, of
So
course.
they're catching up, and I don't know when that will be.
So it's
And
going
it
to
will
be Calgary, it's
no,
going to be
it will
Ottawa?
Ottawa. It will be in Ottawa
Mashallah.
at the Governor General's
Wow.
residence, right? So.
Beautiful,
Yeah, yeah,
beautiful.
So tell us something about, you were just saying when we were on that, regarding this, that you are also chairing this committee about the racism, something about that.
Yeah.
So tell us something about that, and then we would like to ask you some questions
Thank
on
you.
that.
So just recently, I've been awarded the co-chair of Alberta Anti-Racism Council.
Okay.
Mashallah.
Alberta Anti-Racism Council.
Council.
Okay.
Mhm.
The council's job is to advise the government of Alberta
Mhm.
what to do to combat racism.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So I have had only one meeting and one committee meeting,
Mhm.
and I have a different method of dealing with this thing because I take the bull by the horn.
Mm-hmm.
And I say, okay, what is the root cause of racism?
Mhm.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Right.
true.
Right.
So, what I have concluded, rightfully or wrongly,
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
I have concluded that racism is you are not born with, it is taught.
Yes.
Racism is taught, you're not born with.
Mm-hmm.
So, how to combat racism is to combat with education.
Education, yeah.
So, my goal is that I am working on a paper for the government
Mhm.
to give them advice what needs to be done
Mhm.
towards combating racism.
Mhm.
And why I'm saying that is coming from my experience at the police commission.
Mm-hmm.
When I was at the police commission, I told the chief of police, I said, to enforce the law, you need to stop the crime, you need to enforce the law.
Yes.
Mhm.
Okay? However, I want to get to the root cause of the crime,
Yes.
why the crime happened.
Why it's happening, yeah.
So we came up with 3 steps,
Mm-hmm.
and they are very relevant in racism
Okay.
problem. And 3 steps were early intervention,
Mm-hmm.
prevention, and education.
Education, yes.
And so that's the lesson I have learned at the
Yeah.
police commission. I'm taking over to anti-racism commission and making sure that we can educate the children,
Yeah.
educate them from K to 12.
Yes.
Yeah.
Educating
Early
them that we are all equal, we are one race,
Yeah.
right? And when they get home, and if their parents are racist and they're
Yeah.
making racist remark, those children ought to be able to stop the parents saying
Yeah.
that is not the right thing to say.
Yes.
That's the only way I can think having a widespread impact. And we are a different country,
Yes.
right? We are multicultural country
Mm.
where people coming from all over the world to make this country a flourishing place to live,
Yes.
right? So, and with all this, God bless you, refugees coming from all these countries, Ukraine, Afghanistan, right? Those are we just recently, and I also, by the way, chair the Calgary Catholic Immigrant Services,
Mhm.
and we just welcomed 330 Afghan refugees last week.
Yeah.
They came on one plane from Pakistan to Calgary.
Mm-hmm.
There was a charter plane.
Mhm.
They were all Afghan refugees who had worked for Canadian or American troops there,
yeah.
and they were given refugee status in our country.
Mm-hmm.
And so see, so many of these people are coming,
Yeah.
and if there is this racism and people are not educated about it, it's going to create a lot of problems in
That's
this.
right.
Yeah.
So and one more thing, Samantha,
Yeah.
thank you for bringing it. Just remind me.
Yeah.
So, anti-racism or racism, don't think it is just out there. Everybody else is. We need to look within ourselves,
Ourselves first, yes.
and
yes.
we need to say, "Oh, are we racist?"
Yes,
And
yes.
we need to change that, right? We need to be able to say, you know, my neighbor, whether it's from Southeast Asia or Africa or Canada, have them over, meet with them, engage with them, and share some food,
Share,
right?
yeah.
And share your thoughts, values, right? People will love that, and this is how you become a thriving city, a thriving community.
Yeah. We are
So
so
you know,
right.
like in our Pakistani community, we have a few organizations who work with the community, just like a PCA, especially Pakistan Canada Association. So do you think, are they doing a good job? Are they doing enough job? Or it's
Well,
not?
I think we can do more than that, right?
Yes.
So they're all working pretty hard. I
They
just
do,
recently attended PCGA, is that right?
Yes, sir.
Group, right?
Yeah.
And I think poor people, they work so hard to put the event together, right? So that the community is together,
Yeah.
right? And I encourage them to do more and
More.
keep doing more.
Keep doing
And thank you for doing all that. with
Yeah,
me.
Yes,
yeah,
yes,
that
yes,
is
yeah.
important because there's so many of our community now from Pakistan is here, and we need to involve them and make them understand. Yeah, you know, we all are one, and we as a community help each other, but we have to help other organizations in this province too. So that is so important.
I want to bring one more point.
Yeah,
Please.
sure, please.
And that is, I mentioned a little earlier that I don't want the Trumpism to be coming to Canada.
Yes.
Mhm.
I want listeners to know that we have a fairly strong voting power.
Mm-hmm. Yes, we do.
That's right.
And I want to make sure that we are impactful
Mhm.
by voting power.
Mhm.
I don't want to underestimate the voting power.
Yeah,
And so what I'm suggesting, if someone says something against another community or minority, if that person can say for that minority community, then can say for anything else, anybody else. So we need to be very careful, right, and be united, protecting all minorities,
Yes.
not just your
Only
minority
your
or
community.
our minority,
Yeah.
but every minority,
Yeah.
Yeah.
right? So
Yeah.
Do the right thing.
Yeah.
that's right.
That's very important.
so true.
Mhm.
You know, I remember when there was a attack on synagogue in New York,
Mhm.
and do you know what happened? The
Mhm.
next day, Muslims stood up and circled the entire synagogue and saying, "We come and hit us or kill us first before you kill our
Mhm.
brothers
That is-
who are Jews,"
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
That's called community,
That's
right?
community,
yeah.
That's the way to
Yeah.
go about it, right?
And I think Calgary, I find, is pretty good in that, and it's getting better.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I hope it gets like more involved and more better.
Yeah.
But it is getting slowly. It's inching up, and yeah.
Since
it's
the
getting
October
better.
7th attack on Hamas on Israel, I
Yeah.
wrote articles in the Calgary Herald, and my goal was to simply unite Calgarians.
Right.
Mhm.
We cannot have Canadian going against Canadians.
Yes.
Yeah.
We have zero say in Palestine or Hamas or Israel.
Mhm.
We have zero say in it. Why should we not be able to say our voice
Yeah.
peacefully
Yeah.
without pitting Canadian against Canadians?
Yeah, that's so right.
So
exactly.
you know, like you are involved with so many things, so many organizations, so many all volunteers as well, like volunteerism. So how do you manage all this? You have family, you have work as well, plus on top of all these.
So my father used to say,
Uh-huh.
if you want to get anything done, give it to the busiest person.
Okay.
Yes, I like that. Yes.
That's the way it used to be. That's the way it is.
Mashallah.
Give it to the busiest person and you will get it done, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
So, you know what, I'll manage it. Sometimes I screw up things. I miss
But
my
you learn from
appointments.
those.
I miss my appointments.
Yeah. So on the lighter note, what does 𝗦𝗪𝗕𝗏 do for his leisure? You work so hard, I know. You are involved with so many committees and so many things, but what do you do for your leisure?
So, my pleasure of my life is my wife and my children and my grandchildren.
Okay.
And they are my leisure and my
Leisure.
pleasure.
Yeah.
And we are very fortunate to have 8 grandchildren, 6 of them in Calgary, 2 of them in
Wow.
Toronto. and they're over every day almost possible,
Almost,
right? And that is our best reward of our hard work, what you're
Okay.
suggesting.
Yeah.
And then, just maybe golf is something I do.
You believe? Okay.
And I travel and love traveling with my wife to go to places where we can. And my wife is just recovering from her illness now. It's time to go travel again.
Yeah.
And I suggest God has given us good health.
Mhm.
Let's go travel now before you are unable to travel.
Unable, yes.
right?
So
So that's why we are taking on several trips this year,
Oh my.
and then inshallah we'll continue to do that.
Yeah. So I have some kind of the rapid fire round for you, just on the fun side, because I know you're so we won't catch you next time. Just a few questions, but you can answer it the way you can feel like. Okay, chai or coffee? What do you prefer?
I prefer chai.
Chai.
However, I have stopped drinking chai
Mm-hmm.
about a year ago,
Okay.
just because my doctor one day said, "Well, you have a little high blood pressure."
Okay.
I said, "So what should go?" He said, "Coffee and chai." I said, "Consider it done."
How can we live without chai or coffee? I don't know.
So once in a while, if I'm in a
Once,
winter,
yeah.
they will have chai, and I love chai, right?
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
I'll have it, but I don't drink it on
You
a
don't
regular
drink-
basis.
Regular
Ah,
basis,
okay.
okay.
And your favorite color?
Green.
Green.
Green,
Ah,
okay.
Go Pakistan.
Pakistan
Green.
zindabad.
And a little bit of blue, green and blue.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Favorite
Okay.
book?
Okay. Recently, I read a book called Unlimited Power.
Unlimited Power. All right.
Nice.
It's written by Anthony Robbins,
Mm-hmm.
and the gist of the book is that your brain has so much power that you can do anything you want, anything you want, totally unlimited, right?
Wow.
And so there are many examples in that book. With your brain can turn any disease into cure
Mm-hmm.
if you have that power, right?
Wow.
So
Did you read by any chance My Name Is Not Harry?
no, I have
No?
not.
Yeah.
It's on my reading
Yeah.
booklet, right?
Yes, you have
yeah,
to read
exactly.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have to read it.
Okay.
It's
Your favorite
amazing
hobby?
book.
I am recently.
Mm-hmm.
Well, no. When I was living in Pakistan, I was collecting coins and stamps.
Okay.
Right?
Yes.
And then they were put off the shelf because I did not have time.
Mm-hmm.
And now I'm reverting back to it.
Oh,
right?
nice.
You know why?
Mm-hmm.
Because I want to pass it on to my grandchildren.
Ah, wow,
Nice.
So
wow.
that they
Yes.
can have
Good.
that.
That's a
Yes.
good thing. Yeah.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
Yeah.
And your favorite artist?
Van Gogh.
Van Gogh?
Maybe?
Yeah.
What
Van
about the
Gogh.
Pakistani artist?
I don't have much knowledge of that. I
Mhm.
apologize, right?
Do you listen ghazal or anything?
Well, I left.
Yeah.
Look at what I'm unable to speak Urdu.
Yeah.
Because my language
Yes.
has deteriorated. I can speak Urdu and I can understand Urdu, but I cannot convince people.
You
Yeah,
came very
that's
early.
right.
Yeah.
My English comes in very. So when I was doing business in Pakistan,
Uh-huh.
right, we drilled some wells in Pakistan,
Yeah.
right,
Yeah.
and it was all in English because
Yeah.
I could not speak in the Urdu language
Mm.
as efficiently as I would like to.
Yeah, yeah. And your favorite dish or your favorite food?
Pakistani and Canadian.
Yeah, let's do both.
Do both, yeah.
Well, karahi,
Karahi.
anything karahi is fantastic,
Ah.
right? Karahi chomps, karahi
Chicken,
or
beef,
karahi,
anything.
any of the karahi is fantastic,
yes,
right?
enjoy it, yeah.
And then the other thing which I love, which
Uh-huh.
is very crucial for Canadians,
Uh-huh.
is the vegetables.
Vegetables,
Right? We have
yes.
so much great vegetables,
Yeah.
even though they're coming from all over the world.
Yeah.
But I love that. So having a salad is my favorite thing
Yeah,
to have.
good.
Nice.
That's
If you
nice.
get a chance to go for a dinner with with any celebrity, who would you go with?
Yes. My wife, of course.
Of
yes,
course.
My wife and my children.
And plus?
And I have some friends who I would like to. And remember that my friends are not just from the country I come from.
Yes,
My, my friends are at large,
Yes.
right? And they come from every corner of the world.
Nice.
And I love my friends to go with, right? So we often go out. Sushi is my favorite food,
Oh, okay.
right?
Nice.
And we love sushi because I think it's fairly healthy food.
Healthy
Yeah,
food. Yes,
it is,
yes,
it
yes,
is.
yes.
Yeah, yeah.
3 things in your bucket list.
Huh.
Okay, like one is a travel, of course. You
Of
just
course,
said.
yeah. So that is one thing I gotta do. Right now, I'm making sure that this goal I have of literacy,
Mhm.
my family's philanthropy
Mhm.
has been toward literacy education. So all we have done is education, and that is one of my goal to expand the literacy, not just in Canada but internationally. Right? So one of those things, inshallah, I will get there,
Mhm.
right? And the other one I would love to do,
Mhm.
and I have not done that.
Mhm.
I would love to do that, and I keep telling people that I will do it right now.
Mhm.
The moment there is a ceasefire in Palestine, I would go and volunteer.
Oh, great.
mashallah.
What a good,
Mashallah.
what a good
Wow.
thought. Yeah, great for you. Yeah.
And,
It's-
wow.
yeah.
Wow, for sure. And I was going through your Facebook. I think you had a picture with 𝗦𝗛𝗔𝗥𝗘𝗦𝗖𝗥𝗑𝗕,
Mhm.
and of course we missed him.
Yeah.
One of like a wonderful person. Few things about him I know. Like he was a
Well, when I did not know anything about Mahmoud, right?
Mhm.
And 𝗦𝗪𝗫 was the premier of
Mhm.
Alberta, and
Yeah.
he told me, he says, get to know this young man. He was 20 some years
Yeah.
old.
Yes, yes.
And so I went to see him, and instantaneously we fell in love with each other because we had this common goal,
Yes.
is helping the humanity,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And so we became very close, right? I was in Florida when I learned that he passed away
Mhm.
accidentally, and I could not believe it. I was in shock,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, all of us were in
And
shock.
I have been to funerals, many funerals.
Mhm.
I have never been to a funeral as large as that.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah,
Well,
it's
thank you. So, yeah, that was it.
It's all the whole hour went by and we didn't even realize it. It was so good talking to you, and it is always a pleasure to sit and have a nice conversation with you. And we'll do it again soon,
Thank you, Salma, and thank you,
Yeah.
Jalal, for
Yeah.
inviting me, and I
Anytime.
wish you all the best. What you do for our community is very much appreciated. Continue doing that. It's
Thank you.
great.
Inshallah.
If you need any help,
Yeah.
or anything from in your organization,
Yeah.
any your charity events, let us know. We'd love to have you, or any other
Great.
thing.
We are always
We'd
there.
love to have you.
That's right.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
All the best to you.
So ये थे माइक शेख, द ऑर्डर ऑफ कैनेडा, इनको मिलने वाला है. He's a recipient. So we'll talk to you next week, inshallah. Salma ji, ठीक है?
ओके, इजाजत दीजिए. अल्लाह हाफिज. और ख्याल करिए अपना, और इंशाल्लाह आपसे फिर अगले हफ्ते मुलाकात होगी.
Yes.
खुदा हाफिज.
And thanks to Country Hills Toyota. Thank you so much, guys.